Welcome to the Konglish Talk podcast, a chill talk show brought to you by some States girl and Korean guy living in Korea. My name is Leah.
And I'm Diaz. And today's topic is high school experience in Korea and the States.
Yeah.
We spent 3 or 4 years in the high school, and that's the last time for our teenagers, and we do lots of things, so we are going to talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about our own stories, what we did in high school, what we were like as high schoolers, which will be fun.
Don't forget to follow us and set the alarm.
So, were you a part of any clubs when you were in high school or any extracurricular activities? Because I know in Korea, there's not as many. I know that there are some clubs, but I haven't heard of that many compared to America.
Okay, before I start talking about how's Korean high school experience, then I'm gonna say that Korean high school is the best place in the world to study. But anything else. So, yes, we have club activities in Korean high school. Nominally. So, it exists. Yeah, it exists. And few students join there. But mostly, well, not mostly, 99% is for like their portfolios for college. So Korean club activities is not that famous. I also had a club activity when I was in the high school, but I forgot because I didn't join there.
You forgot it? Wait, you said you didn't join there. So you weren't in a club.
I was in a club nominally.
What does that mean?
So, on the paper,
oh,
I exist.
But you didn't go.
Most of the people doesn't go to the college like that, so...
Oh my god. So actually, like, a lot of people there's kind of, like, stereotypes of the kind of high schooler that you are, like, when you're an American in high school, depending on what clubs or extracurricular you are. And so there's, like, the band kids, because every high school has a high school band, people who play the instruments and stuff like that. Yep. And then there are the choir kids who do the singing, which is what I was. I was a choir kid. And I went to a pretty decent high school. Now, in America, your high school experience is unfortunately very dependent on your zip code. So if your neighborhood is like, I mean, my high school had rich kids, but we also had kids who were lower income. So there are some high schools that are more open with that. But unfortunately, there are high schools where the general population is pretty lower income. So therefore, the school itself is going to have less resources. Whereas if you're in like a generally more rich neighborhood, you're going to have a much better high school experience because you're going to have parents who are donating. You're going to have like, more income kind of coming in from taxes. So I was fortunate enough. My parents knew that and they were willing to sacrifice living in a more like higher income kind of like neighborhood and like take the hit on take home pay for me to go to a good high school and have a good high school experience. So I was very lucky with that. So our school was actually really good with sports and the arts. So I was very lucky with that. But yeah, a lot of kids, sports is also like hugely ingrained in American culture. So we have a lot of school pride. We have school merch and colors. We have mascots, like, you know, we have football games. Everybody goes to the football games. Like, it's a whole thing. But in Korea, like, you guys don't even have that for soccer, right? Like, there aren't school games or anything. That's more like maybe university.
Okay, so... separated levels with zip code and the area also exist in Korea. So regarding to the province where you live in Korea too, that might also make your student affected how much you study. So that's also a big deal in Korea. As I said, Korea high school is best place for study. So everything is related to the scores and how many students went to the decent colleges. So the great high school in Korea means that the high school sent lots of students to the great college. That's what the school pride in Korea means. Nowadays, lots of schools are kind of like a normalized, except for Meister high schools and the specialized high schools. So some schools regarding to science, foreign languages, technical studies, computer science, and extra things like art. Those kind of schools are open to anybody, but mostly students have to go to like a community high school, mostly. That's what happens in Korea. And thanks to that, we mostly lost our high school pride. And Korean high school also has a sports club, yeah. But that's kind of like a sports club for few students and like some students who wants to go college with sports activities and wants to go to the pro league team.
Wow.
So just normal students don't go there, they just study. That's what happens in Korea. So I don't know, some kind of like an high school sports team might be popular for certain people, and mostly headhunters from the pro league team and the college, not among normal students. So we don't have kind of like an high school pride.
Wow. So that's just crazy. That's like crazy for me to hear. So I was involved in both chorus, and I also I was involved in like, it was called Raider. Our high school was called our high school like mascot name, our high school name. We were called the Raiders. And so I actually, there was like a really small club that our librarian made up called Raider Review, and we put together like a booklet highlighting students' art, so people could submit their short stories, and they could submit poems, and they could submit art and stuff like that. And so we would put it, me and some friends of mine were part of that club, and I was one of like the co-chief and editor people on there. And so we would like put that together, and that was so fun, and the school really liked it, and I hope that it's still going on now. But that's actually kind of sad that Korea doesn't really have that kind of thing for high school students, because I know like in America, a lot, even if you want to go to college, and a lot of people in America do want to go to college, if you don't show that you were doing something like outside of only studying, your application actually looks a little bit less compared to others. So for example, like when I was in high school, I know in Korea it's not as common, but when I was in high school, I dated, and my ex-boyfriend in high school wanted to be like a lawyer. He wanted to go to law school when he went like after college. So he was involved in like a debate club. And they would go and like speech and debate. So they would go to like other schools and speech and debate, like other teams, other speech and debate teams like around the county for different school districts. And so they would do that. He was part of tennis. He was a part of the tennis club. So like having that kind of like enriching schedule makes you actually a better applicant for college.
That's a really different thing regarding to Korea. So yes, we have some kind of like competitions, and we have some kind of like poetry, and we also have like club activities. Yes, we can use that to write our portfolios for college. But in Korea, mostly the best thing to go to college is your midterm test score and the final scores in every subject. So mostly Korean students are not familiar with that kind of like an extra activities, and even worse, Korean colleges doesn't accept out of school activities.
Wow.
Because some students will do those kind of like outside school activities using their money, and that was abused by some rich students going for college, and that is still a problem, and still there's a news with that regarding to some politicians and So Korean colleges only accept inside school activities, so
Yeah, a lot of people don't really have to do outside stuff in America because a lot of our schools already support like clubs, like there's different language clubs, like you can be part of Spanish club or German club. I was in German club in middle school. Like we already have resources in the school. There's a lot of stuff you can kind of choose from. Of course, the quality is better if you go to a bigger school, but we don't really have to do outside stuff like that. So whenever you were in high school, like, was it really all study in the sense of, like, you didn't really hang out with your friends? Or if you did, what did you do?
playing games on the PC방. And let me rephrase your question, and I want to ask you, so after school, you did lots of club activities, right?
Not after school all the time, because I actually had a job in high school. So I didn't stay after school that often. A lot of the stuff I was involved in were during school hours. So, for example, like whenever I was part of the Raider Review club, we only stayed after school maybe like once or twice a week. And then like we could go like in the library because we have study hall if you want. We could go in like during our study hall hours and work on stuff in the library. So I would do that a lot. And choir is an actual class that you can take in high school. Same with band. So you already are in that class. And the only time we ever have like after school is if we are preparing for our spring or winter concert. We're rehearsing for that. So I think I definitely would have stayed after school more if I was in like drama club or something like that. But I wasn't really interested in that, or like in the school musical. That was a big production too. And if you're in sports, you'll stay after school a lot more. So I didn't stay after school as much, but that's mostly because I wasn't in the really demanding clubs like sports, for example. I was actually working most of the time after school. I had a part-time job.
I think that's a really different, like, regarding to Korea. So you guys can do club activities in school, right?
Yes.
In Korea, the whole students have to take class starting from 8:30 to 4 p.m. So the whole schedule was already set. On that time, we have to study we have to just take classes, and the given club activity time for high school students in Korea is kind of like 2 hours or 3 hours a week. So it's really short regarding to the state. So, and I say we only exist club activity on our document, so we didn't do that much. And unless you're in certain special cases, Korean high school students are not that easy to get part-time job.
Yeah.
So
that's true. That's one thing, like, for those of you who may like be in Korea or something and you haven't gone to the States yet, or Canada, or I don't know how it works in the UK, but probably UK too. There's actually a lot of young people, like 16, in retail. A lot of younger people, like you might be surprised, like, wow, like this like 15-year or 16-year-old is working at McDonald's, and yeah, like those are the jobs that we get when we're in high school, a lot of us. Even if we don't work during the school year, because there are some kids, like, for example, like I said, sports is a really big thing in America. So it's very demanding. So like one semester will be like you're playing your sport with the school, but then the off semester people are doing like people are still involved with their sport, but it's like an outside traveling league that they do to like keep up. So during the school year, they're really busy with training and stuff. So maybe they'll have a part-time job during the summer break. But for me, since I wasn't in sports and didn't have to do that with that kind of schedule, I just worked all year part-time. And I worked at Subway.
You guys do lots of economical activities too in high school. But in Korea, that never happens. So
wow.
I can just say that most of the Korean high school students' life will be home, school, home, school, private school, home, school, private school, home.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
on the weekend study yourself and going to private school. That's how Korean high school works. So you cannot do lots of things during high school times in Korea. So
that's kind of sad.